Good, very early Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now, coming on the air because we have a flash flood warning in play for portions of Duval County, but it's not just any flash flood warning. It's one where the Weather Service is saying this could be a particularly dangerous situation, Roy, where it is life-threatening. The tag on this for the damage potential is now considerable because there has been significant rainfall here in toward this area of Jackson over the last little bit where the green box is. I know we've had couple of the flash flood warnings haven't jumped on because we haven't seen maybe, where it's really life threatening, but this is a type of alert that now goes off on the phones. It's an extra level here of danger, sadly, as we're looking toward Jacksonville, so we needed to jump on the air. It's the middle of the night. Hopefully most folks aren't out and about, but there could be a few folks out here, so you need to remember to turn around, don't drown, as just 6 inches of flowing water can knock you down here as we're looking toward areas of Jacksonville. I see around Jacksonville, Craig Municipal Airport, and then toward the Mayport area. Some issues here in play as we look over the last hour or so. This shows 2 to 3 inches of rain, really, but over the last 12 hours, I mean, you're talking about around a half foot of rain, give or take. Sometimes it does it a little, but the weather service saying that between 4 and 7 inches of rain have fallen, with additional amounts of 2 to 3 inches possible. So some areas in theory, now maybe a little bit on the high end, but some areas in theory could get 10 inches of rain here in this localized area, Jacksonville. So we're talking about, portions of Jacksonville, but also portions of Jacksonville Beach, maybe getting that level, Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, San Pablo, Craigfield, Mayport, and Fort Caroline. So this could be life-threatening, especially being dark out there. So I know we're trying to check some of the latest traffic cameras to try to give you an idea of what's going on. I know we don't go on for all flash flood warnings, but and it's not in the middle of the night, which we'd rather not go on in the middle of the night unless we absolutely had to here, as we're looking into wee hours. But it's a situation where it could be dangerous for folks right now. Just, don't want to send out, notifications unless we absolutely have to be on. But, it's a situation that's another level of flash flood warning here at this point. So we really got to take this seriously because this is a type of alert that can really start to, and the type of situation that can really start to escalate a little bit on us. I have seen a little bit of reduction in the rain rate over the last few minutes, but, you can't take any chances here. I know we're looking around areas there. I mean, in toward the region, as I kind of look very carefully. I mean, around areas close toward Ed Austin Regional Park, it would seem. That's the type of area here where we could have some of the heavier rainfall concern. So you just got to be kind of mindful. I know some of the side roads would have more danger probably than the interstate, but you just got to be kind of mindful of what's going on here as you're tracking the overall scenario. So again, let's go ahead and kind of study here now one of the traffic camera shots if we can. I mean, folks are getting by. It looks like on this stretch, but we'll go ahead and kind of pop it up. This is a live Florida 501 look there. As we're looking at things, it'll be at I-295 East north of Monument Road. I know it doesn't look, just absolutely terrible there, but there's some side roads that, may not be as high up that could be having some problems here. You could have water over the road. It could be a foot or two, possibly. Don't know for sure. And that's a type of level of water that if you try to get out of your car, in the worst case scenario, it doesn't happen around our area that much, but you could, in theory, get swept away. So you got to be really careful here, as this is an unusually high level flash flood warning, not quite to the next level, which is the highest level flash flood emergency like we had during Debbie there, but we're in that level in between right now, and it's not just your typical flash flood warning anymore. And those don't get issued all that often by the Jacksonville office, to be quite honest. A little bit more sometimes used, I would say, by the Tallahassee office is the product, but this situation here, a little bit enhanced wording now, so it's a little bit of enhanced danger for you, the viewer, if you're out and about. I mean, in theory, a few homes in this area could even be getting some water into them now, so got to keep that in mind here, too. It's the middle of the night, which helps in most ways, but just got to be really careful here as we're looking at things. It's, the wee hours of the morning, 3:26 a.m. I know folks trying to get rest for that FSU football game maybe on Saturday against Georgia Tech. to watch that or something of that regard. But right now we do have a situation where we need to be on the air because, and here on live streaming is what I mean by that, here on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, to protect you, your friends, and your family, because areas like Fort Caroline Shores, St. John's Bluff, we could have some issues there. Some of those neighborhoods could have flooding. I don't necessarily have cameras there, so even though it may look better on the main road, it may not be as good in some of these different neighborhoods. It's something you have to take into consideration here as we're monitoring the ongoing scenarios. So let me go ahead and see what we're kind of looking at here. I will say that we have seen a little bit of reduction, in the worst of this, in some of this polygon in the last several minutes, but there are still some areas of red here. Heavy downpour that'll bag this up a little bit. You can see there's more concentrated action here, let's say 30 minutes ago. However, again, we are still seeing some concentrated areas at, smaller, geographic zones of concern. Right there around State Road 9A, for instance, another one here. And it looks like around State Road A1A. So let's look at this. This is what we do a better product with the 1 hour rainfall. This is why we're a little more concerned about the other product underdoes this tropical type of rain. It's not a tropical system or anything like that, but it underdoes the tropical downpours a little. As I look at things, this is showing here in the last hour, 3 to 4 inches from Atlantic Beach, up in toward other areas there in Duval County, up Population. There could be flooding in some of these neighborhoods here as we're looking at things right now in the air. So, something to be very mindful of for sure. You just got to be really cautious, really careful here as I track all of this. In some of these different neighborhoods here where there could be some vulnerability to some flooding. So you just got to keep that in mind here. Let me pull the radar back on for you guys at home. That's the estimates there, but let's zoom out a little bit, see the Doppler perspective. And then as I kind of do that, I just want to kind of talk about, the concern still. You just got to remember to be very careful. If I'm looking out and about, it is 3:30 almost in the morning, but it is, really dark out there overall, especially when you're away from the lights, You're away from the lights and you're away from, the higher road, and then you're in an area that's darker and that you don't have the visibility, and then you have more flooding concern anyway because it's more vulnerable to begin with. So, gotta be really careful here in Duval County this morning. A particularly dangerous situation, a PDS per se type of warning. I know they don't quite use it like that wording, but it's a life-threatening warning. Considerable danger here of flash flooding. Is life-threatening weather. So that's why I have to be in the air right now. Tornadoes, all those tornado warnings, they're always life-threatening. A lot of severe thunderstorm warnings are, and, flash flood warnings, many of those are too, but if you're really careful, you'll be okay. But here you can still be really careful, and you'll probably be okay, but there's a chance that you might not be. That's why you got to be careful, because this is another level up. There's really, I guess you could say there's 4 type of flash flood warnings, but we'll kind of explain it like that. So there's the radar indicated ones, the observed ones, the considerable ones, which this is, and then the catastrophic ones. So really, you can almost say, either if you want to just count the first 2 together or not, either 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 on the scale of severity, if you want to kind of classify it in an odd way, I guess you could say like that. Not many folks do it quite like that, but, that's just another way of explaining it there to you guys, the viewers at home. So I never really heard it explained like that, but I feel like that could kind of help you guys there a bit. It's not something that's foolproof, that explanation, but it can kind of help you guys here. So again, flash flood warning, life-threatening situation in the Duval County. Again, we don't really have the cameras in the most vulnerable spots here, but on Atlantic Beach, some concern, that you just gotta be really cautious of that. Just trying to let you guys know what we're dealing with. We're just trying to give you guys as much information as we can. It is, the wee hour of the morning. We don't want to be on unless we have to be in these situations, because I don't want to be like waking people up if it's just, like a flash flood warning in the middle of nowhere, and and things like that. It's not something that's really truly life-threatening, but this is not in the middle of nowhere, and it is considered now by the Weather Service in Jacksonville as life-threatening, so we need to be with you guys. I know we posted about these warnings earlier on, and this one when it wasn't to that level, but now this is considered life-threatening, so we have to take it seriously here. I hope we don't be on with this a really long time, just for the fact, we don't want to overblow this or anything, but this isn't just a typical, base flash flood warning anymore, because there is that considerable danger. There's been several inches of rain in this area, some areas a half foot of rain, in a fairly short period of time, it seems at this point, so that's problematic. I mean, it's not, nailed down exactly how much some of these areas have gotten, but 1 hour, that's about 4 inches there on Atlantic Beach, and storm total, now that's going to include, getting maybe further back, but so 9-10 inches of rain there towards some of these areas. So that's cause for concern, obviously. I know, just trying to let you know what we're dealing with. I know the Weather Service sent out a pretty strongly worded tweet here a little while ago in Jacksonville because of their concern, their escalated concern about this. So I know they were saying that stay off the roads in this area with 4 to 7 inches of rain having fallen there, with an additional 2 to 3 inches possible. The highest rainfall totals near Fort Caroline and Mayport. I know, we got pretty lucky during those high school football games across the area, all things considered, and some of these storms started coming in right after they completed there toward the first coast, and other areas getting lucky still around like Stark and the like, but and Baker County, but as we kind of look at things, I know we started getting some of these rains to come in a little bit after, some of those games were completed there per se, but things weren't escalated, to the level they are now here. I mean, with the considerable nature of the flash flood dangers. So, just continuing to watch things here. Let me go ahead and zoom on out a little. I'm kind of looping this around. That was a warning that went away earlier on, and we had another warning come in because of that rain just sitting over that area, causing problems coming right off the Atlantic. An unusual pattern overall, but this time of year would be a, flash flood favorable pattern even outside of a tropical system. This is not a tropical system, but it's tropical downpour activity coming on in. You saw that green box earlier, and this is the current green box, so just trying to let you know exactly what's going on here, in the wee hours of the morning per se. Just got to be really cautious, really mindful here. Just tracking things as they evolve. As we look here, right around Atlantic Beach seems like area at the moment with some of the worst concern here. Let me see if there's any, first-hand accounts coming out of that area right now as we kind of look at things here. See if we're getting anything, just, overwhelming there in that area. It's the middle of the night, so a lot of folks aren't going to be awake here and know maybe that there was flooding in, their driveway, their parking lot, in toward our region into the morning even. So you just got to keep that in mind here as we're looking at things as we're tracking the overall scenario. So again, trying to watch this here for you. Right around Atlantic Beach, so A1A there. Let's look at velocity of this real quick. There's not, much there in terms of that. Not much wind energy, not much rotation. Maybe I guess 25 miles an hour in there, something like that. Not out of the question. We did have one toward Mayport there, about 19 miles an hour around the top of the hour. That kind of lines up with that thinking. Again, just watching the things here as we look. Right around A1A, right around that area there, and toward Jacksonville. That flash flooding danger there. Again, I'm seeing a good trend, but right in that little corridor from Atlantic Beach to Neptune Beach. A lot of folks are maybe on a Friday night. Outside FSU, a lot of folks, it's their last weekend without college football for their teams. They might be headed out to the beach and, on that weekend there, and that can be, an issue in terms of maybe some flooding in the parking lots, possibly, of where they're staying, not out of the question. I know At least we're not dealing with a tropical threat like what they're dealing with out toward, areas around Hawaii. I will say that, honestly, that's not something that's looking just overwhelming. We have to watch out, for those marine hazards and the like. I'll just pull this up really quick though. You see a track here of a tropical storm. Could become a hurricane at points there, but tropical storm warning toward the Big Island. As the last check there, I think that's the only alert that they had. I'll double check though. Just give you a quick update on that. You can go to clutter.com/tropics for the latest on things, as we're tracking things, and track on all that, toward tropical, storm warning, conditions, possibility. The Big Island there, Hawaii, there as we're looking toward Hawaii County. So, again, tropical storm conditions, expected somewhere within that warned area next 36 hours. So there's a storyline there, but that's not while we're on the air. You see some other systems out there that could be an issue as well for them ultimately. So I'll watch that. But nothing in our basin, but we have local flash flooding right now toward Duval County at 3:30 in the morning. That green box, that's when we actually have a considerable danger. It's not just your typical flash flood warning. We've seen several inches of rain in that area. Let me go ahead and pull up another look at things. Storm total shows it well. Not just one event here or one area of moisture, producing all of this, but just adding on top of already a saturated ground. We're up to, with the storm total here, 9-10 inches of rain. So going back over, not just this storm, but multiple storms, multiple rounds of moisture coming in. That's a lot of rain for them. Storm total, you see the variability. To where there's like stark really nothing in terms of rain. So that's good. Scattered shower, something like that. Putnam County, though, you're talking about in that white area, 4+ inches. Pinks there, purples, 3-4 inches. Again, white areas there toward it looks like A1A with some of this rainfall picking on up, in terms of the heavier totals, 4-5 inches there. As you get there northeast of Hilton, about 4 inches. So, telling another story around I-95 there in Nassau County, about 5 inches of rain. Camden County, about 5 inches in spots. Not everybody, though, getting that. You go over toward Folkestone, smears of town, maybe getting an inch, and, at the very most, but other areas not really getting anything. So that kind of tells you what the story as we continue to watch this. At least it's not a flash flood emergency where it's like catastrophic flooding, but it's just one level below that. So that's what I'm going to pop on the air here in the middle of the night to give you the very latest here on this. You got to treat this, seriously. Granted, it's not like a situation where, everybody's going to have problems here, but still it's something that's got to be taken seriously. So just going to continue to track this scenario here as we kind of zoom on in. You see some of that shrinking there a little bit in terms of the heaviest totals, but that's still over 3 inches in the last hour there, right around Atlantic Beach. You see some population density in there, so that can lead to issues with draining of the water and the like. It may take, longer to drain then, is what we're saying, as a weather enterprise. So you just got to be really careful here as we look, as we track, as we give you the very latest. Just trying to effort everything we can, but at the middle of the night, we're not going to get much information out of this area unless something really serious happens. I wouldn't think, as we continue to watch the overall scenario as it does go on. So we're just following along here, with you guys there as that timeline does continue. So again, not much of velocity. Storm total, some areas 8-9 inches. That's the issue. So even this light to moderate rain could aggravate the situation. The heavier rain definitely be aggravating things around Neptune Beach. You're right on the edge of this, but some of these areas right up in Atlantic Beach, 5-6 inches in the storm total amounts. And then as we look Still getting into some of this. That's an issue. So we're continuing to follow this since I don't see just a widespread area of very heavy rain. It is, it is there, some concentrated areas of heavy rain. I think we're going to go and wrap it on up here for now, but if we need to cut back in, we will. We just need to post up. We will. I know we have Facebook there, Casey Cloud Every X, Cloud Weather. You have Twitter / Cloud Casey, YouTube at Cloud Weather. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. You have Twitch there, Cloud Weather, and cloudweather.com. Just real quick before I wrap it up, I know you're wondering how your Saturday's going to go. I mean, this pattern eventually is going to kind of break some. We talked about the higher rain chances on our late Thursday update, but we still have some cause for concern first. So let me see here. I'm going to get our HRRR model run up here. It's not going to do perfect with this, but it'll help us out and, help you guys if you're at home is what I mean. To kind of give you an understanding of what could happen. It's not in the perfect spot, quite honestly. Some of the models were really hammering areas in like Camden and Glen, and this is still trying to do that. It's displaced some. I'm not saying that they won't, get quite a bit up there ultimately, but let me go ahead and we'll kind of see what it's supposed to look like here at this hour as we continue to watch. I mean, you see it's not quite right getting it right, because let me go ahead and put up the current radar. There's not as much in southeast Georgia as this is predicting there should be. There is more in some ways in the heaviest downpours, more in the way of the heaviest downpour to northeast Florida. Let me go ahead and just kind of progress this some. You see, I really wanted to build stuff into southeast Georgia. Not saying that won't happen. It could, but it also could happen somewhere else across the area, which would be cause for concern, especially like a repeat over the area that's already picked up so much rain compared to everybody else, 9-10 inches. If that were to start trending in, then we could really be in a serious spot here. As you see, all that kind of coming in there 8-9 in the morning, in theory, in southeast Georgia. And some of these tropical events, some not tropical storm or anything, but just tropical rain events. Sometimes they like to, be a little bit more aggressive at night even. That's something to keep in mind. And sometimes we'll get them on the west coast there of Florida as well. But see, it's really done a lot of rain in southeast Georgia. I mean, that is significant. I mean, this is some of the 6-hour estimates, but I need to back that up. I mean, that's, 4 inches there at one interval. So we'll see. I kind of back this model up again just for a second, but we'll run it forward again. This is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5, 6, 7, 8 or so, give or take. I know it's going to vary sometimes, by an hour here or there, as we look at things. We'll just continue to track things here in the Weather Center. It's kind of something you have to watch, just with the current radar trends, because the models aren't going to pick up on things that's right. Hopefully, we don't get a training really of more of this. We've already had enough of it. That's why we had to come on, because it became serious enough to come on. But we really hope we don't get. And let me go to the other mode, because maybe we'll see it better. In theory, there's at least a chance based on that, model run. Granted, I will say, this area is more saturated, and, it's not, everything's a little displaced, so it might have more trouble forming, but, if it didn't, and this all kind of filled in with moisture here, and headed right toward the polygon, then we could really be talking about, situation where some areas were to have maybe, bordering at least, in a neighborhood or two, on the edge of catastrophic flooding. But I'm not predicting that right now, but you have to just watch the radar, because it's not exactly what the model was saying was going to happen. It's different. It's what's really happening right now. So these localized events like this with the overall pattern, can be really tricky. So just be careful. Remember, turn around, don't drown here as we're looking at things. 3:45 here in the morning. That's going to do it for now. Just remember that if you have a situation, where water's really coming in your home, then you really got to move to higher ground. But really, it's just probably still for most folks, a concern if they're out and about, which there shouldn't be too many, but if they are out, it is dark, you can't see very well. You got to remember to turn around, don't drown, don't go over a road if you can't see how deep the water is, because, it may look like it's only a few inches deep, but it's actually a couple feet deep, and then you're in trouble potentially. As also, you got to remember, if you try to get out of that vehicle, on foot, the 6 inches of flowing water could knock you down, and then, in theory at least, you could be swept away. It's happened before in, areas of the country Doesn't happen that often around here. It did happen in a tropical storm years ago around Tallahassee, around the FSU campus. So you just got to keep that in mind. Got to be careful. But we're going to wrap it for now. If we need to pop back in with more, we will. But that's going to do it for the time being. Just be very careful here as we're looking at things. I zoom into some of these different areas. Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach there. You kind of get the idea. We watch more rain to the north here. Now this, as we kind of look, I mean, there are some homes in there, but it's a little bit less populated, which could help some. But still could have more flash flood warnings if this were to start to build a little bit more. We'll see. If that doesn't go over a really populated area, they may go with a flood advisory, flood warning for some more areas here as we look, in time further on. But this flash flood warning does go to 4:45 a.m. by the way, just if you're wondering the time stamp where this would end, as life threatening, and it could get extended, but and it could start to improve depending on how the rain rates go. But some areas may be improving just a bit right now since they're not under the heaviest downpours. But life-threatening flash flooding of creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, and underpasses. That's the concern. Is you gotta always be really careful here. As you want to turn around, don't drown. Want to encounter those flooded roads. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles. Weather Service encourages us to remind you, and then be especially cautious at night when it's hard to recognize the dangers of flooding. So, very important to keep all of that here in mind as we look at things as a tragic situation. I just gotta be extra careful. We want you guys to be safe out there. But that's gonna do it for now. Thanks so much for tuning in, trusting me. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. Just checking one more time, make sure you don't have any questions or comments from any of the viewers at home. I know we're always wanting to make sure we're keeping an eye on that here the best we can. It's just a one-man band, but it's all about trying to keep you guys safe out there, informed, up to date, answer your questions the best we can. Just kind of really wanting to do all of that. As we go ahead and go to another view there real quick, you see some of that once you're trying to come in. Again, we'll just have to watch it. We'll just have to monitor it. That'll do it for the time being. I hope you guys stay safe out there. Have a great night. I'll be back here as conditions warm from the Weather Center as we track the storms as they impact portions of the region.